Oh joy, trying to make a video on the fucking YouTube thing keeps randomly disconnecting. So reconnect. Well, why can't you just fucking save locally? Huh? Huh? I don't know. Probably because I'm using Waterfox, which is on Firefox, and they don't have the local storage yet. I think if I did this on Chrome, I wouldn't have the issue. Anyways, videos about Fallon Fox. If you don't know who Fallon Fox is, she's an MMA fighter, female MMA fighter. Well, actually, technically a trans woman, MMA post-operative fighter. She's been post-op since 2007. She's been on hormones since 2003. She says about 10 years for the hormones, 6 years for surgery. Everyone's freaking out because she is a trans woman, thinking that she's some sort of giant 6'4", behemoth beating up on 5'1" girls, not realizing that she's 5'7" and she's 145 pounds. Let me say that again. She's 5'7" and 145 pounds according to the stats I could find. Her website, I think a few other fight sites, they all pretty much echo the same. They probably are taking from her website. Another number she puts out is like 135 pounds. But anyways, she's not 170, she's not 180, she's 145 pounds. So she's not outside whatever weight class she's in. And in terms of height, she's not exactly gigantic. I know a lot of people say that a 5'7" woman is exceptionally tall. But really, if you look at the average height of a woman, I think what's the average is what, 5'5", 5'6" in America? That's anywhere between 3 to 4 inches difference, maybe 2 inches difference actually, 2 to 3 inches difference, whatever. Not like 8 or 10-inch difference. So, what's the deal? Well, the deal is that she's a trans woman and everybody wants to go and gender her as a man and therefore say it's not fair for her to fight women, come up with hyperbolic statements like she's going to Hulk out and break their bodies into, like, this is Metal Gear, you know, revengeance, or some other nonsensical kind of, you know, exaggerated state of violence. And the simple fact is there's this false sense of chivalry, like somehow because she's a trans woman she shouldn't be fighting other women. I'm like, okay, I don't understand this. But anyways, even in this modern age, I still kind of think it's kind of confusing and outright ridiculous to somehow say that she's going to be magically superior based on her height and weight. Just take her height and weight to that of a female of the same height and weight that is physically fit or in the MMA with the same basic stats. I just don't believe it. Now people might say, well, she has like higher set hips and so she doesn't take much energy to move around. True, but that's also a weakness because it means that all I have to do if I was a fighter is to knock her down, hit her. I don't have to use as much energy to knock her down physically. She has to put more energy into stabilization than a female at birth woman, you know, fab, because by, you know, evolutionary kind of pressures, a female hip bone's more like this and a male hip bone's more like that. So like they're more like a U and males are more like a V, which is explaining why there's a higher center of gravity. So if you ever watched like the Mr. Wizard episode, this is years ago, I remember this from a little kid, like 7 years old. You can do this experiment probably with your family, specifically people about your age, children can do it with each other at the same age. And this is funny. Get in a chair like a lazy boy, dinner chair, whatever. Sit down. Make the boy, and this is the boy here, make the boy have to get up with using only his legs while you put your finger on his forehead. You'll find that he won't be able to get up, at least not easily. And in Mr. Wizard, when they did this, they did the girl in reverse, and she had no trouble, or at least not as much trouble as the boy. And I don't know if there was a height or weight difference, but I think you could probably find this particular clip of Mr. Wizard from Nickelodeon on YouTube somewhere. So, you know, that's one difference, but it's not a significant one in terms of fight. You have technique, you have the fact that they're in the average same height and weight class, and that Fallon Fox has been post-operative for 6 years and on hormones for 10. And I can guarantee you that they lose weight. You lose muscle mass as a trans woman, even in your 50s. I remember seeing a friend of mine, she was a post-operative, and she was in her 50s at this time, showed me a picture of her in her 40s. She used to work construction before, well, she still did, but she used to do a lot of heavy lifting and laying like everything for concrete, which included the timbers and stuff to put together, you know, the frames. she worked construction, did that. She was big. She's shorter than me, but she was big still. She packed on the weight. And then I looked at her today, well, not today, but at that present time of knowing her and talking to her, and she was slight. She had hardly any shoulders. She looked like grandma. You know, she just had a wind-blasted face from working in the sun for so long. But that's kind of about it. And so I'm just kind of scratching my head saying, okay, on the average, a person's going to lose some of that muscle mass, a good chunk of that muscle mass, and they're going to gain a lot of fat, and their metabolism is going to change in terms of how it handles muscle and fat in terms of balance of that. I don't see what the problem is. People say, oh, bone density. I'm like, well, actually, all athletes have to worry about bone density in terms of microfractures. Whether you're a runner, a boxer, MMA fighter, bicyclist even, you're going to stress your body, and microfractures will appear, and you will get more dense bones where you apply the most force. That's just a fact. So arguing over actual density, I think, is such a tiny, minutiae thing. If we're talking that level for fighters who are in the same weight and height class, we just disregard gender, just weight and height, what's the difference then? What's the real difference? You know, it's kind of the same thing that I remember when I used to watch boxing a lot, where you have like someone like me, a 6-foot guy or up, face somebody who's 5'10", 5'11". Apparently they were still in the weight class. Like they could be like heavyweights. You'll be surprised. There's some heavyweights that are pretty short. There's some heavyweights that are goddamn tall like me. And I remember one fight where this guy, he was about, I think he's exactly the same height as me. I think 6'2" or 6'4". I'm 6'4". I think he was around at least 6'2". And he had slightly shorter arms, apparently, according to the measurements. He was like 2 inches shorter than the guy below him that was shorter than him. And what was explained, of course, in the commentary was that, hey, the reason why this tall guy getting his ass whooped, other than technique and being tired, was the fact he had to cover himself up, you know, block the blows more so than the short guy. The short guy basically could cover himself, practically just do this, you know, shield himself. And so, even though he was in the same weight class, the height difference there was far more significant than the weight. So it's not a clear-cut case of just saying she's outside her weight class. It's all about the fact that she had a dick. Had nothing to do with the technical aspects of the sport. And I think people who are pundits in the sport need to actually acknowledge this, because if you look at any other contact sport like this, height, honestly, matters more than weight. Weight kind of zeroes out once you start to bracket people in a range of weights where they're not too great in terms of the distance between each other. Like, say, arbitrarily 40 pounds difference, which is a great amount of difference, by the way. Having a guy that's 180 versus, say, a guy that's 220, that's a lot, especially if it looks like it's solid muscle on both, right? They're both like really scrawny Douglas-looking types in terms of very low body fat. Then you can definitely make a case that muscle matters. But if you can't categorically show that it's all muscle, or that by and large less than 1% or less than 5% is accounted for in water and in body fat, you really don't have a case, I think. And in this case of Fallon Fox, unless they can show that versus any other female opponent in her circuit, they got nothing to say on, at least on the muscle part. On the height part, I'm pretty damn sure a woman that's 5'4" probably still has a key advantage in terms of blocking blows because of her shorter height over Fallon Fox any day of the week. So, long story short is that someone's going to have to come and talk to me, both from a physiological standpoint, but also from the simple fact of, you know, just common sense about this, rather than the bullshit, oh, she used to be a man. It's like, dude, it would be fair if your analysis was against, say, me and one of Fallon Fox's opponents. I'm 6'4", I'm 300 pounds. Let's just exclude the fact that I'm a fat ass. Let's just say I did get big and bulky, muscular. Then yes, it would be unfair. It would be a trivial fight for me. Just, that'd be it. Or a big swift kick from me, and that would be it. Be over. Wouldn't survive it. I could take blows from that shorter person, smaller person. I could probably take blows from Fallon Fox if I was trained as much as her and lost all this fat and gained muscle of equivalent mass, say like 280, 250. Probably beat up on her. But the reality is, That's what makes the difference. You know, it's height plus weight, not just, oh, she used to have a dick. Sorry. That argument is completely moot here. And if you say otherwise, really, frankly, you better come up with something better than that. Because I can't say that any other argument based on pseudo-scientific nonsense and unproven historically so-called advantages can really be used here. You need to show me an actual longitudinal study, an observational study of height and weight differences, and actually show where the brackets need to lie. Because then, again, you will prove exactly my point, which is it's height and plus weight in relative brackets, not gender, not what's between the legs, not what the chromosomes are. That makes the fighter, in terms of statistical advantages or fairness or evenness of odds, better or worse.